Depending on where you live, this is either called the 2018 Honda Jazz or the Honda Fit. But no matter what it's called, it represents an important stepping stone into the Honda range, as it targets first car buyers and also customers wanting to downsize. But small car sales are declining, so the Jazz better have a few tricks up its sleeve if it wants to keep ahead of current trends. Does it? Let's find out. The Jazz arrived on the scene back in 2001 and made a name for itself with the sheer amount of passenger space available in such a small car. It also introduced Honda's Magic Seat system, quickly transforming the Jazz into a van-like cargo-carrying hauler in a matter of seconds. Cheap to buy, cheap to run, and reliable, the Jazz appealed to customers wanting to get from A to B without hassle. For 2018, Honda gave the current generation a facelift, with a revised front grille to match the rest of Honda's lineup, new alloy wheels, LED headlights with daytime running lights for higher trim levels, and a multi-angle reversing camera with a 7-inch infotainment system. Power remains unchanged, with a 1.5-litre 4-cylinder engine doing the honours, producing 88 kilowatts of power at a whopping 6,600 RPM, and 145 Nm of torque, still at a high 4,800 RPM. That goes to the front wheels either with a 5-speed manual or CVT automatic. So, let's take a look inside. In typical Honda fashion, everything feels very well screwed together. All the plastics are hard, as expected for this class, but they feel incredibly hard wearing and should last the test of time. Except for this part on the handbrake, which does make me worry a little. Starting with the steering wheel, as expected from a base model, it's not leather wrapped, but it still manages to feel good in the hand, and it does have a bit of give when you press on it. On the left, controls for media and volume, Bluetooth phone, and cruise control on the right. On the driver's door card, 4 power window switches, but only the driver's is automatic, electric mirror adjustments, and the door bins aren't big enough to fit standard size water bottles, but I will forgive it because there are larger bottle holders in the doors. What's not so great is this infotainment system. It looks incredibly aftermarket, and the menus also suggest that. Touch responses can also be a little bit hit and miss, and in direct sunlight the screen is pretty much invisible. But at least all the sources you would expect are here, including an auxiliary jack with USB iPod connectivity, HDMI port, which is quite interesting, I'm not sure how many people would take advantage of that, and of course Bluetooth audio with Bluetooth phone connectivity. There are also physical volume controls. I prefer just the volume knob, but at least they're there. Down below, it's very refreshing to see some very simple to use climate controls with 1, 2, 3, 4 for speed, direction control, and temperature control. Reset is also a manual lever, and rear defrost and the air condition button. Below there's a 12-volt power outlet and 2 additional cup holders. And whilst there's no center console, Honda have done a very good job carving out plenty of spaces to put your phone, wallet, and other loose items. The seats themselves have decent side support and are very comfortable, and they're also trimmed in this hard-wearing cloth material. Above, 2 map lights, both halogen, and the driver and front passenger get their own vanity mirrors. But a usual bugbear of mine, these sun visors don't extend, so they're not very useful for protecting from the sun against the side. So, let's have a look at the back seats. Now, if I had to spend a lot of time in the back seats on one of these compact cars, I'd definitely pick the Jazz. It feels incredibly airy inside, helped by these massive side glass windows. And Honda have a reputation for carving out space which its competitors can't find. And right now, I'm 6'3" or 190 centimeters, and I've got just enough headroom, plenty of toe room, and enough knee room, but knee room I will get back to in a second. Par for the class, there are no 12-volt power outlets, USB sockets, or rear air vents, and none of the Jazz's competitors do as well. But the door bins are actually bigger in the back than in the front because my bottle fits here. The seat backs can also recline, but there are no ISOFIX child mount tethers, so if you want to mount a child seat, you'll have to do it the old-fashioned way with the seat belt and the top tether. Around the back, cargo area has got to be one of the Jazz's biggest strong points, with a claimed space of 354 litres, which is larger than cars from a complete segment above. And the loading lip is very low, so getting heavier items or bulkier items in and out shouldn't be an issue. Underneath the floor, there are tools for the space-saver spare wheel, and thanks to Honda's Magic Seat system, the seats fold completely flat. And once they're down, there's 1.5 meters of length, 1 meter of width, and 1 meter of height. Honda's Magic Seat system still manages to impress me every time I see it. To achieve this, the fuel tank was moved underneath the front seats, which allows for the seat squabs to be lifted for taller items, or folded completely flat. The term IKEA must be music to every Jazz's owner's ears. It's about now which you might be wondering what the title of this video has to do with the actual car. Now, if you remember me sitting in the back seat, even I had enough knee room to sit behind myself, which is rare especially in a compact car. But that's due to the fact that this driver's seat doesn't physically go back far enough to accommodate someone of my frame. So right now my feet are too close to the pedals for me to be properly comfortable. And after around half an hour of driving, I already started experiencing pain in my lower leg. So if you're at the 6 foot mark or taller than 6 foot and you're looking at the Jazz, I would definitely suggest taking it for a longer test drive to ensure that you'll be comfortable. And if you're under 6 foot, you'll be fine. With peak power of 88 kilowatts being made at 6600 RPM, you'll truly need to rev it to make the best out of the 1.5 litre unit. And in conjunction with the CVT gearbox, when you step on the right pedal, boy will you hear it. Although keep in mind that the Jazz does only weigh 1049 kilograms, so even though it makes plenty of noise, there is adequate power available, even with 4 people on board. What impressed me most about the Jazz is its steering. It manages to be light but communicative at the same time, and it is properly fun to chuck around in corners. With a turning circle of 10.8 meters, tight corners shouldn't be an issue. The facelift also brings motion-adaptive electric power steering to the Jazz. Now, what on earth is that? In situations where grip is low, the driver may unknowingly over or understeer the vehicle, causing a loss of control. So, in conjunction with Vehicle Stability Assist, sensors monitor either an over or understeer situation, and the power steering motor can physically apply a corrective torque on the steering wheel to help guide the driver to reduce or increase steering movement. A few years ago, this was only available on Honda's top-of-the-range vehicles, so it's nice to see such a technology make its way down the lineup. In fact, the whole driving experience was what surprised me the most. With its tall, boxy shape, I wasn't expecting much, but that's where I'm proven wrong. And that's the 2018 Honda Jazz, a car that does exactly what it says on the tin. So if what you want is a reliable, practical, cheap to run and cheap to buy small car, then the Jazz could very well be for you. Unless you're tall.